I wanted to do a story about Vietnam, another story, and I went to Fort Rucker, Alabama. This is the home of, or was the home of, helicopter pilots for the U.S. Army. They had the rank of warrant officer or chief warrant officer. So they weren't commissioned as lieutenants or captains and so on. And they weren't enlisted people, they were in between. I went. Why did I go? Because the people who were being shot down in Vietnam were the helicopter pilots. So I knew my way around an army base because I was myself a second lieutenant of infantry in the reserve. And I started interviewing helicopter pilots, and I found out that one of their pet peeves, other of course than the consistent threat of dying by being shot down, was that the medals given out in Vietnam went not to them, or not always to them, but to whom? Who got the medals? The medals went to generals who were flying 20,000 feet above the battle, right? This was a source of great consternation for the helicopter pilots, and I suppose rightly so, but anyway, that's the way it was. And they came to call these medals Buck Rogers badges. So I wrote the story, and I thought it was really a good story, but what do I know? But I got back to Washington, went to my apartment, and got a call from the news editor of the Washington Bureau. And he said, "You'll be getting a call from Abe Rosenthal to bawl you out." I said, "Bawl me out? What did I do?" And I hung up. The phone rang. It was Abe Rosenthal. Now, what was he bawling me out for? What had I done? I hadn't made anything up. Hadn't done anything unethical. Hadn't taken bribes. Wasn't smoking dope. Wasn't taking drugs. Wasn't drunk. What was it? It was that in the course of my article, I quoted one of these brave helicopter pilots, and he said something slightly off color. And I don't remember anymore what it was, but it's, probably I shouldn't say on the video, but let's say, sake of example, hell, these are the guys, the generals who get these medals. It was stronger than hell, but not a lot stronger. And he said to me, when this sort of language is used in the New York Times, I will make that decision, not you. Well, I was flabbergasted. I hadn't made any decision at all. And I was just quoting him. And I said, I was just quoting him. And he said, well, we select quotes all the time, don't we? And you can't sneak that into the paper. And I was astonished. And with youthful disdain for authority, I said, Abe, I can't sneak anything into the paper. I have to give my copy to the Washington editor, who looks at it and gives it to the news desk, which reads it before it's even sent to New York by telex. When it gets to New York, they give it to the national editor or his deputy. And then they give it to the rim of the copy desk where it is read. And it's read by the bullpen, what we call the bullpen of editors, and so on. How could I possibly, given all that, sneak this or anything else into the paper? And then I went a step too far. Everything I had said was true, but I said, I was young and maybe silly, I don't know. I think you're overreacting. And he said, please don't characterize, or just don't characterize what I'm doing, and hung up. Well, I wasn't fired. And the story ran without whatever the word was.